My business is failing. Dring, dring, dring. My weight is out of control. Dring. My love life is flailing. Boy, is it. Dring. My dog won't answer my calls. It can only go up from here. Toastmasters guests, at times I feel like my life is a country song. However, I can change the tune. I started a small business a few years ago, and I let it go for different reasons, but I decided it's time to bring it back. And what I do is I make mini comics. I draw and write mini comics. It's a superhero that is faith-based. It's a Christian superhero. I also draw illustrations. I draw little works of art on cards. And recently, my church had a pop-up market, and you had to apply for a spot. And I decided this is the perfect time to get my stuff out there. Well, I didn't get my application in time because I was busy trying to sell my comics to get the fee so I can sell more of my comics. And I was just shy of a few bucks, but I was able to get everything that I needed. Unfortunately, when I did submit it was late and I wasn't sure if I was going to be accepted. And a few days later, right before the pop-up market was about to start, I got the email that said, rejected. All right, that's fine. But I can still prepare for next time, for the next market, for the next opportunity. So I didn't stop making my comics. I got to work and I was making all the packs that I could. And what happened for that event, because I was still going to go, is that instead of focusing on selling my comics, I decided to volunteer for the parking lot. And I asked, is it okay if I can wear my costume? So the superhero character that I created, I personified. And they said, yeah, you can wear it. So I wore it for an hour, and I was walking around, and I had some comics in my pocket, and I was greeting kids. And what I noticed right away, people actually do like the character, and kids like the comics that I was giving out. I took pictures of kids, I took pictures of a police officer, I was having conversations. There was even a parent that was suggesting that I do a mini comics workshop, and I mentioned I actually did do that a few years ago, so I might start doing that again. So in that hour, instead of moping around and being depressed that I don't get to sell my stuff, I got to actually be a hero, and I was having lots of fun. And then I went back to doing doing the parking lot. But it just gave me the motivation I needed for next time. So I didn't stop there. I could have been sad. I could have been depressed, but I decided to change my tune. And one of the plus sides from walking around in a suit, especially on a hot day in a place like the Rio Grande Valley, where it can get scorching hot from 1 minute to the next, I lost a few pounds because I was sweating a lot in my suit, and that helped with my weight. So back in 2011, I weighed 280. And among other reasons, I think that was one of the reasons that my marriage didn't work out, because I had such a bad weight problem and I didn't have a lot of self-control when it came to eating. And so my marriage did fail for different reasons, but I think that was a contributing factor. What did help is that with the depression that came out, I wasn't eating as much, so I did lose a few pounds. But that is not a diet plan for everyone. A few years later, I decided to get serious. And I decided to start going to the gym. So I've been going to the gym every month, at least 1 week, or once a week. But my goal is 3 times a week. Sometimes I can't do it 3 times a week, but if I can do 1 a week, that's fine with me. Since then, I've been monitoring my weight, and I've gone from my past weight, which at the time it was 240, and kind of got stuck there, but now I'm at 209. And I was there this morning, and this morning I decided to start keeping a log. So now I'm tracking not just how much I'm losing, but also how many exercises I'm doing within a certain amount of minutes, how long I'm there. So now I have a better track on it. So I could have just been at home eating ice cream, drowning my feelings with food, or actually do something about my weight. So I changed my tune. And now that I'm losing more weight, I can now start thinking about maybe talking to a pretty someone. Well, it actually turns out that almost on a daily basis, I go on walks, and on one of my walks, I ran into this cute, long-haired individual, and they have 4 legs. Should stop. And every time I'm feeling down or depressed or not really thinking much about anything, I'll see this dog. And we started bonding. And I don't know their name, but I call the dog Buddy. And there's actually about a few weeks where I wasn't seeing Buddy. And I was wondering what happened, because it is hot here, so it is a killer, this heat sometimes. But the other day, I ran into Buddy, and it was like a scene from a movie, where Buddy was across the street, and we ran into each other's arms and embraced. And I spent some time there with Buddy, and he can really cheer me up when I'm down. Which brings me to one of the reasons I've been down. My love life is flailing. Sometime last year, I met someone online, and we started talking, but they do live in another country. So the distance has really been an issue. And there's a slight disparity within our age. I'm very mature, so that also might have been a factor. And after a couple of months of talking and just having difficulties, when she's up, I'm going to bed. When I'm up, she's going to bed. So it just really wasn't working out. So we called it quits. A month ago, we started talking again, and for a few minutes it seemed we might reconcile. But the same issue is there, the distance and the age disparity. So she said no, and I almost let myself spiral down into a depression, but I decided instead of just staying at home and moping, just being sad and depressed, which doesn't help anything. I went to church and we had a guest, a preacher. And I gave him some of my comics, and so he's been calling me Mr. Artist. And at the end of the sermon, I went to go thank him for coming, and he said, no, thank you. Also, God wants me to tell you, just like you're an artist, he's the ultimate artist, and he wants to paint a new sunrise on your landscape. It's like every day ends, a new day begins. You're going to have new days. And that gave me the encouragement and motivation that I needed to now start thinking at things, looking at things differently. Instead of seeing all the bad, I can see the good. But good can come out. So every day I'm looking for my new sunrise. And when there's a sunset, I'm not sad because I know that sunrise is coming. So sometimes your life can be a country song, but you can change the tune. You don't have to stay where you are. Thank you, Toastmasters.